I tried to persuade her not to get in the entertainment industry, and you see how well she listened.
She's got family, she's got friends, and oh yeah, she's got a huge secret. What the world doesn't know is Miley Stewart is Hannah Montana.
What is it about putting on a blonde wig, living a double life, and singing pop songs with positive affirmations that not only speaks to everybody, but a teenage boy going through middle school like myself? Hannah Montana was more than just duality, it was identity. It was sort of a bridge between femininity and masculinity. I mean, at least for me. If you didn't relate to putting on all the makeup, putting on a wig, and singing for thousands of people, I at least related to the sitcom format of an ABC joke structure that was pretty much my gateway drug to all things Hannah Montana. Not just the TV series that ran for 4 seasons, or the feature film that is probably one of the best movies of all time, or any one of the 4 groundbreaking soundtracks that accompanied each season. None of that. For me, it was the story of it all. It was the idea that you could do more than one thing in life, and the challenge of balancing highs and lows of being a teenager while also jumpstarting a career at such a young age. It almost gives me true Jackson VP vibes, Sunny with a Chance. I mean, Hannah Montana was the first of its kind. Wait, or was it? There's not enough people talking about the Hannah Montana TV show to concert experience online nowadays. I mean, we all talk about Miley and Hannah like separately, but do we really dive into the history of 2006? Not really. Today, I want to uncover all the story-worthy elements of the Hannah Montana upbringing. My name is Johnny 2000s, and I cover everything media related to the 2000s, like movies, TV, music, and so much more. And I've actually done a retrospective on every season of Hannah Montana, but now that it's the 20th anniversary, I'm looking back and I'm kind of embarrassed about those projects because I was still starting out. I was still trying to figure out my video essay format, and this was the first show I did, so it clearly came out the worst. But now that it's the 20th anniversary, now that Jason Earls is creating a Hannah Montana rewatch podcast, now that we even have rumors spread that Miley Cyrus might be coming back as Hannah Montana, I thought, when is a better time to actually revisit more than just the TV show, but the true Hannah Montana experience? And who better to do it than one of her best fans? Not claiming to be the number one fan, I'm just saying I'm like one of the best. I don't know. The point is, I love Hannah Montana, and I have a lot of information about it. Whether it was watching the interviews with cast members throughout behind-the-scenes videos on the movie, how they made the show, even Disney Channel Games interviews. But most importantly, the stories I've uncovered through podcasts and hearing about the showrunner, Michael Poryes, open up about how all this came to be. We have a lot to uncover, especially with the first 26 episodes of Hannah Montana really making a splash. Like, this show was everything all at once. So let's uncover how 26 episodes of a teen sitcom changed the lives of millions of people forever. Dare I say everybody on Earth? No. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll just say everybody. So let's talk about the inception here. Michael Poryes is the creator of Hannah Montana. If we backtrack a little bit, he started out with Disney Channel on That's So Raven. And this is back when Disney Channel wasn't necessarily known for its live-action sitcoms. They were really known for their musical films, their animated musicals. Like, they already had an identity, and they were showing early signs of wanting to create a sitcom world such as Nickelodeon had at the time, with the success of, like, Drake and Josh on Fabulous, whatever was going on in the 2000s at Nickelodeon, Disney wanted a piece of that action. And that's where Michael Poryes came in. With That's So Raven being one of the first successes of Disney Channel, Michael Poryes had a spotlight on him to create something even better. That's So Raven almost lived on its own without Michael Poryes after the first season. Like, once they got casted, got Raven Simone involved, found the structure for the show, he didn't really need to be as involved in it. In fact, he moved over to an entirely different show. I want to start out by saying, like, I found this article on Rolling Stone about how the Lizzie McGuire show inspired Hannah Montana. And this article is more so explaining, hey, that's not true, that never happened. Michael Poryes wasn't really involved with Lizzie McGuire. Sure, they found things that worked about that kind of show, but that was more on the Disney executives' side to have a catalog of what worked and what didn't work. So Michael Poryes had more of a mold he got to create with the Play-Doh of teen pop sensation. And nothing started out the way we intended in this. For me, when I hear all these stories, I feel like the most pivotal moment is when they casted Miley in the series.
I used to, like, go to work with him all the time, and now it's like he's going to work with me, which is really weird. It's like...
Originally, something happened with Raven-Symoné for That's So Raven, where it was apparently going to be called Actually Psychic or something with that nature, but Raven's character actually came in and completely rewrote the show. It wasn't even going to be a black family to begin with. But that identity became what the show became, and that's exactly what the success of Hannah Montana did too. Originally, this show was actually going to be about a girl from New York. Her whole issue was she was shy in real life, but a pop star at night, showing the exact contrasting elements. But obviously you need to have friends when you're going to school, so they threw in Lillian Oliver, making it a more rounded out girl with a personality. Miley wasn't known for her acting right off the bat. It was something about her authenticity and realness of being this girl that Miley Stewart really was. Inspiring more than just the writers and the script, but inspiring the entire experience. She was so mesmerizing at the time, they just said that they could not keep their eyes off of her. There was something about Miley that was so drawing. And he actually says something in the podcast that's really sweet, that like she was shy in real life. She was also jumping between her home in Tennessee, going to school, and auditioning for this part. They actually had to be really patient with her and keep putting the show on pause to try to figure out the chemistry between her and the series. It wasn't supposed to incorporate Billy Ray Cyrus. I don't think they even had a adult character that was also famous related to the show. It was just supposed to be about Miley. All of that was just an interesting bonus when Miley started to support her trips to LA and like actually help her make this role happen. Disney Channel had to be in close contact with Billy Ray to even see if he would be interested in being involved at all.
I want my money back.
I mean, Miley had so many siblings at the time, so it's not like he didn't have his hands full with other people, but Miley was definitely taking all the attention because of this. Billy Ray Cyrus's plan at the time of the start of Hannah Montana was cut an album, do a tour, and then retire, which this entire thing would throw that off course. Cyrus received the script for the pilot before auditioning for Hannah Montana over the course of like 6 to 7 months. The creators weren't just Michael Poryes, it was also some guy named Rich Coral and Barry O'Brien. They both looked in Los Angeles and New York for somebody to play Hannah, but really couldn't find anybody until they saw Cyrus's audition tape. But while the creators were impressed, they definitely weren't convinced, and like the fact that she was a 12-year-old girl with no acting experience, that was definitely a red flag for them. So they just kept looking and looking to find another actor for Hannah. And I remember hearing a famous story that Trina Vega, as in Daniela Monáe, was going to be one of the really close calls, especially since she was older than Miley Cyrus, who was 12 at the time. It seemed like more likely they would go with her. Especially since Daniela Monáe had so much more sitcom experience, like it made so much more sense. The room was pretty evenly split between Miley and Daniela, and they inevitably made the decision to go with Miley Cyrus. Who led that decision? Gary Marsh. Gary Marsh needs a quick recap because he was pretty important to the whole development of all of this. He joined Disney Channel in 1988 as an executive director of original programming, pretty much inventing the mold that we saw in 2000. He was made the vice president 8 months after, and then in 1994 he was the senior vice president. Back when it hit 2000, Marsh assumed the role of executive vice president of original programming and production at Disney. In 2005, he was promoted the president of entertainment across Disney Channel worldwide. Now, this man also allowed Lizzie McGuire to happen, so he was probably the creative head that supported Hannah Montana the most.
You can listen to the music that goes with your mood.
I got everything I've always wanted.
If you've seen other YouTube videos, I feel like he was the sole responsible one for almost creating the pop star and actor mold that they knew Disney Channel so much for later. Like, Nickelodeon never quite got as far. Like Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, Demi Lovato, like, they really made that their thing. Something really interesting is that originally Gary Marsh offered the role of Hannah Montana to Allie and AJ, more so trying to get them to both be Miley and Lily, which is crazy to think about. Imagine how the show would have went that way. Something really cool when I was doing research is in 2007 they did an article called Getting to Know Jason Earls in 17 magazine, and they actually like got his star sign, his birthplace, and oh my gosh, he's like known for American Pie band camp at the time. Always a weird choice to be played by Jason Earls because of how much older he was. It's just so hard because he looked like a teenager. None of us really batted an eye or even cared at the time.
Was boyish for like 35 years,
Yeah.
and then I woke up one day and I was
built a
like,
career on
the
it."
frick happened to you, bro?
This article is barely worth mentioning because it's just a lot of him personally, but it really shows what was going on at the time. Like, his most prized possession was his PlayStation 3, and his TV screen was 42 inches of gaming, which, by the way, is like an iPod screen now. You know, now that I think about it, there should be a bunch of topics we should lay on the table that I don't want to talk about. One is Miley's relationship with Billy Ray Cyrus. In short, like, they had a really tumultuous relationship as the show progressed and their responsibilities. Miley's growing up into figuring out who she wants to be as a pop star. That was a very complicated relationship that we don't really need to get into. Miley's relationship with Hannah Montana, there was a long period of time where she seemed like a little bit ashamed of it, didn't like to talk about it, was more so trying to figure out her identity in the acting universe and the singing universe. Give her a break on that one.
Because who you are and what you know and what you understand and what you feel is completely different.
Those are the topics I feel like people talk about to death. So I just kind of wanted to talk about the sitcom itself, especially since I'm a big 2000s nostalgia fan. So for Billy Ray Cyrus, his inclusion was really interesting because, you know, he wasn't supposed to be a part of it until they saw that, like, he brought Miley to the place she needed to go acting-wise. You know, it was her actual father, so it was a lot easier for her to appear authentic in that scenario. And that's what Disney was really enjoying about putting this together. They were even hesitant about Billy Ray taking the part. They weren't even sure if they could have him act.
Right.
He's not going to be able to act, you know, and we said, sure, delighted. And he came in and to our surprise, absolutely nailed it.
Wow.
But even more than that, he got Miley from here to here.
Oh, right.
Because you can't buy that chemistry.
The whole point was that, like, he was just so right for the character. Something really cool I never knew was they had, like, a premiere private screening for Disney Channel people, and I heard it on the Magical Rewind podcast that the girl Sabrina Bryan from the Cheetah Girls saw Miley Cyrus in this show and was just like flabbergasted. Everybody was so excited about it right as it premiered, which is so cool to think about the energy being the same way it is today.
I was at the upfronts when Hannah Montana got introduced to, you know, the industry and the world. And I mean, it was the energy of everyone, Gary Marsh, every single person that was there everyone was so amped.
So how'd you like prepare for everything? Like, what did it take?
I had to stay in the shade for a while. It was quite hot outside, and I'm just like burning up.
So this series was super successful, with the first season pulling in 26 episodes, which in today's retrospect is like 50 episodes. Like, that is crazy to think they did 26 half-hour episodes, and it was like the course of like, what, a year and a half? Like, oh my gosh, they must have never gotten sleep. It went on from 2006 to 2007, from March to March, and then they got picked up for a second season of literally 30 episodes. Yeah, kids TV worked differently, guys, probably because of like the kids actors. They would grow up super quickly, so they'd only really be able to get the amount of childhood that that match the years they were living. I don't know.
Hannah Montana Freshman High Five. 5 nights of all new episodes from an all new high school.
Yeah, then 30 episodes from April 2007 to October 2008, and then 2008 to 2010, they had 30 more episodes from season 3, and this is when the movie came into play in 2009. It was really cool how like they still continued to produce the show, which is insane to me, but whatever. And then they got out a 4th season out of it with only 13 episodes, but these ones were really prominent. If you saw my 4th season retrospective, they really milked all these episodes, but in a good way. Like, they gave every character a couple arcs that would really round out where they started from in the first season. The point is, it's like a very full experience. So if you're getting into Hannah Montana for the first time, even today, you won't regret it. You'll have a full circle experience by the end. So yeah, 98 episodes total. I got a lot of more fun stories in between, but obviously those are for the individual season retrospectives. You could check that out. The first season is truly where it all started. I remember even one of the interviews with Miley, she was saying that they weren't finished filming the first season even when the first couple episodes premiered, and it was an immediate hit. So they knew right through in between set life that this was going to be awesome, with everybody starting to get on the bandwagon right away. It's like getting a YouTube video at 1 out of 10, if you guys know what that means. The main 5 characters, Miley, Lily, Oliver, Jackson, and Robbie Ray, were the only people to be in all 26 episodes. They were really trying to make sure that this would be perfect for these specific characters, with a couple more that would later become in a lot more episodes coming up.
Somebody knows I'm Hannah Montana.
Amber and Ashley, the 2 popular girls at the school that make a bunch of appearances, they show up in like 10 episodes throughout the first season of Hannah Montana, which is crazy because Moises Arias, who plays Rico, was only in 6 out of 26 of them. What in the world? We also get introduced to Jake Ryan, who takes up 4 episodes out of these 26. Andre Kinney, who plays Cooper, is in 6 out of 26 episodes, playing Jackson's friend in the first season, which, by the way, he does not come back after the first season, which is depressing. And we also got Frances Callier as Roxy, 4 episodes, which I wish she had so much more than that. We got Tracy Van Horn in this too. She was only in 3 episodes of the 26 in the first season, but that was still enough to make a big impression. Same with Mr. Corelli, who's in the show up until the very last season, pretty much. His name's Greg Baker, and he's on a bunch of other Disney shows, so seeing him a part of this wasn't super surprising. We got Mr. Donzig, the main character's neighbors. He was in about 3 episodes of the 26, and yeah, there was a lot to be established with just these main characters. All the episode titles are named after a famous song, which is actually really cool. Episode 1 is called Lily, Do You Want to Know a Secret? And it's a play on the title of the Beatles song, Do You Want to Know a Secret? And they do this every episode. It's weird to think about the characters before they knew Miley was Hannah. Like, the pilot starts us out with Lily having a huge fangirl crush on Hannah Montana. Same thing with Oliver, but he doesn't even find out in the first episode that she's Miley. He actually finds out in the second one, Miley, Get Your Gum. We learn that Hannah Montana is already headlining out in Malibu with this one specific concert venue that we just see over and over and over again, which anybody else in the world would not be able to see Hannah Montana at this point. The best part of this episode is just establishing that Lily is the first person to know Hannah's secret. It was a series premiere, with the script being written almost like a full year earlier, so they really had to get this together. In June 7th. Apparently, in the middle of filming this first episode, Miley's grandfather, Pappy, passed away. Aww. February 28th, 2006. The first words that were said on the show were, "This is the life," you know, from that Hannah Montana song, "This is the life." And then the first words spoken were the 14-year-old sensation Hannah Montana, said by the TV reporter in the episode. Which is weird because, you know, later they say it's her 14th birthday at a separate occasion, and Lily already knows the secret, but hey, we don't have to get that technical with it all, do we? Disney Channel used 3 music videos to promote the series in the weeks leading up to the debut. I can't find definitively what they were, but I'm assuming it's This Is the Life, I've Got Nerve, and Best of Both Worlds, or at least something in that hemisphere. Corbin Bleu was the guest star on the first episode, which is even crazier to think about. And the main 3 showrunners all collaborated on this one throughout multiple drafts. Then let's get to the second episode, which is called Miley Get Your Gum. The song she plays at the very beginning of the episode, Just Like You, is filmed in front of a live audience, which apparently was a part of them putting it together. Miley said in an interview that she had like a little promo Hannah concert to kind of get into the character of like, could Hannah Montana be a pop star before this show's even written? Like, trying to get a vibe for it, and Miley was so good at actually pulling it off. Like, I can't believe they got this like 12-year-old girl to have a full-on concert by herself. It's kind of scary, actually. This is also the first time Lola is introduced, Lily's alter ego to match Hannah and keep the secret. It's weird because the episode was filmed with her saying Luffnagel, but then it was dubbed over with LaFonda, which is kind of crazy because for the rest of the entire series, they use Luffnagel. Like, why didn't you just keep that one? That's insane. The pilot had a very specific wig when they were just trying to test out the show, so this episode forward, they actually got a real one that they could use for the rest of the season. Oliver had a crush on Hannah Montana for 2 full years before Miley was found out to be her. Oh my god, poor Oliver, he deserved to know earlier. Apparently to make Hannah's mouth turn black when Miley Cyrus is chewing the gum in the scene where she tells Oliver she's Hannah, they actually had Miley have a prank gum that like had no taste but left a black stain, which is so funny. It was such a gimmick at the time to do pranks like that. But the gum was not staining her lips enough, so the makeup artist actually had to add black lipstick to add like the drippage. We also learned that Oliver is the locker man because he's able to open any locker, which never really comes up after the first season. It's so funny to think it's like completely a part of this. This was also the first episode to air on ABC Kids. Remember that little morning Saturday block where they threw Disney Channel episodes on the other Disney Channel? Yeah, ABC Kids was how I saw Hannah Montana before I got Disney Channel. The title Miley Get Your Gum is a parody of Annie Get Your Gun by the band Squeeze with the musical of the same name. Oh my gosh. Lily says in this that she has a brother, and then we say later that she wishes she had a brother, so continuity issue, but hey, it's worth mentioning. The third episode is She's a Super Sneak, which parodies the Rick James song Super Freak, a really famous song. And in this episode, Robbie reveals that Jackson doesn't actually have a job, and Jackson keeps taking money from his father, which is so funny. But then he starts working at Rico's in the next episode, I Can't Make You Love Hannah If You Don't. In this episode, though, you can even see the 2007 Bridge to Terabithia movie, which is kind of crazy. This episode's really funny because it's like Jackson and Miley spying on their dad, claiming that he's in a relationship, which he is, and we learn the lore that her mother was gone a while ago, and it's kind of depressing. Miley even sings I Miss You in this, which is crazy because it's included in the future, 2 years from now, on the Hannah Montana 2 soundtrack. Not even the first one. Isn't that insane? I kind of think that's a really cool Easter egg. Especially since I love the Hannah Montana Meet Miley Cyrus album. It's nice to have this like little callback. Jackson has like a throwaway line where we learn that it's actually been at least 3 years since Miley's mom died. Although, unlike her sister, he seems to be okay with his dad dating. Not too much to say about that. And then later, of course, in the series, Miley just pushes Robbie Ray to start dating, which is even funnier. By the time we get to the 4th episode, which is called I Can't Make You Love Hannah If You Don't, based off of I Can't Make You Love Me by Bonnie Raitt. And since we covered the best friends, we got more of the family dynamics. This is the one where Miley starts dating, which is really early. She has a crush on Josh, this 9th grader, and she's in middle school. This first season, they're all in middle school. We don't get to the high school until the 2nd season, and that kind of becomes like its whole like overarching format, but this one is pretty contained in this middle school. It was the beginning of Jackson doing a bunch of impressions, like he does an Ozzy Osbourne voice in this, and then he also has the Terminator reference. Like, what is all this Jackson propaganda? And this is the same movie theater in this episode that Drake and Josh was filming Megan's New Boyfriend, which is kind of crazy to think about. This is one of the reruns on ABC Family that I saw millions of times to actually establish what Hannah Montana was. And I just thought it was such a good idea to have her running from stage to seat. Like, it's insane. The next one, we learn more about responsibility in It's My Party and I'll Lie If I Want To. Miley and Lily's relationship is challenged, which is kind of fun. The first time we actually say Luffnagel for Lola's character and the rest of it. They call her Lola Loser Giggles, and it's a reference to the fact that Emily Osment was in Spy Kids 2 and Spy Kids 3D. Oh, interesting. I didn't even know that. According to the book Keeping Secrets, which was one of the novels based on the Hannah Montana episodes, Tracy Van Horn's father is Hannah Montana's record producer. Isn't that insane? Oh, and this episode is the first appearance of Rico. Oh, that's cool. The title of the episode is a parody of It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want To by Leslie Gore. Episode 6 is called Grandmas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Play Favorites, a parody of the Willie Nelson song Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. And we get more family lore with the inclusion of Mama Ruthie, who is Vicki Lawrence. Now, Vicki Lawrence comes back every season around this same time, like the middle to early episodes, along with another aunt, Aunt Dolly, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. And here we learn the dynamic of Jackson not being the favorite, so she gives attention to him instead of Miley, and it brings out a lot of understanding of how their family works. Miley sings for the Queen of England in this episode, which is crazy. It just shows how popular her persona is. Insane. Then we get It's a Mannequin's World, the 7th episode of season 1. And this is when Robbie gives Miley the embarrassing gift of like this quirky kitty on a sweatshirt, and yeah, she's just embarrassed to wear it. They reference this in the 4th season again when Miley gets her sweatshirt back, and I don't know, it's just really cute to make that reference. It's more of a Miley and Billy Ray episode, which is nice. We didn't get a lot of those so far. You'll notice that the cover of the magazine Hannah Montana is on also has Jesse McCartney, which is kind of crazy because he's also on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody season 1. And in this episode, since it's Miley's birthday, it says she's turning 14, but the pilot episode had the TV guy saying that she was a 14-year-old pop sensation, so I don't really know what the vibe is supposed to be here. Or maybe they just think Hannah Montana's birthday's separate. Actually, that kind of works. Never mind. The school becomes a bigger part of the whole Hannah Montana universe in episode 8 when they have her trying to join the cheerleading squad. She can't get on, so she's told she has to be Pirate Pete, the mascot. The episode's called Mascot Love, which is a reference to the Captain and Tennille's song, Muskrat Love. This is one of the infamous quotes that reference Miley's, like, real life, because she also was a cheerleader, so this was cool for her to actually have an episode be about that. That's, like, more of the authenticity thing they were going for when Mike Poryes was talking about it. Apparently, during the Disney Channel Games of 2006, Miley even admitted that she's always wanted to be a mascot, but never was, which is kind of funny to think about. The next episode is the first episode that's taken off the normal sets, like Miley's house, the concerts. It's actually a camping episode, if you'll believe that. Miley, Lily, and Oliver are getting revenge on the popular girls in this one. Definitely a really fun one. It's called Ooh Ooh Itchy Woman, and it's a reference to the Eagles song Witchy Woman, if you guys have ever heard that. When we finally hit the double digit of episode numbers, it's called Oh Say Can You Remember the Words, which is Miley and Oliver, weirdly enough, and it's about her using her identity of Hannah Montana to help him memorize lyrics to a song. They don't know how to sing the Star Spangled Banner, which is such an American way to go about it. It's funny to think we have all these, like, rock songs, and then suddenly we just have the national anthem being referenced in an episode of Hannah Montana. Then the next one we have Oops, I Meddled Again, and this was a really common episode that played a lot. I think it was most known for its chicken suit. This is when we hit the summer of Hannah Montana's first season, 11 episodes in, and we're already given a very popular episode. It's weird because, like, in this, Miley's father, Robbie, is writing a new song, and it's The Other Side of Me, but Hannah already sung this several times in the previous episode, so this must have taken place before a later episode. The song is a reference to Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears, which is so perfect because I feel like if there was any pop star to emulate at the time, that was the right one. It was a really crazy experience when the next episode came out, July 28th, is Willie Nelson's song On the Road Again. They have footage from Achy Breaky Heart, which is Billy Cyrus's actual signature song, and it's used from the footage of Robbie Palooza, which of course I don't know anything about. But this episode is literally a part of That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana. Like, you're 12 episodes in and you have a major crossover with Hannah Montana being the only full title name in it. Oh my gosh. It's just such a big moment. The fact that they had That's So Raven, The Sweet Life, and Hannah Montana all come together with this early in the Hannah Montana run, and this is the only big flaw that this show ever really has. This is its experience on the crossover specials, like Wizards on Deck and That's So Sweet Life. Like, there's just something about Hannah Montana that feels like it was either tacked on or like given the worst treatment about it. When I think in reality, production-wise, it must have been the opposite. They must have like prioritized her so much that they wrote the other episodes of those shows to not work with her in it. I don't know. That's just my assumption. The point is, this episode takes place completely out of the relevance of that. It just starts out at the Tipton, and then the rest is a Hannah Montana episode. It's more so about Billy Ray Cyrus than any other character. But hey, we get Roxy a lot in it, so that's more established. Then we hit the middle point. Episode 13. You're so vain you probably think this is about you. And this came out on my birthday, August 12th, 2006. I wasn't born then. I would only be 20, obviously. But, you know, whatever. The title of the episode is a reference to the Carly Simon song, You're So Vain, from 1972. And according to the Season 3 episode, Ready, Set, Don't Drive, this episode actually must take place in March 2005, which is even more confusing because she is 12 when she should be in high school. I don't really know what's going on writing wise over here. I just need to move on from it. But this is the episode that actually had a book written off of it. It was called Face Off. And in the book, they reference that Jackson's outfit was actually gold when he was wearing the dress. I don't know why it was necessary. And we learned that Lily actually has terrible vision in this. It has a lot to do with Miley and Lily's relationship, which those episodes are always so fun. Then we get 14, New Kid in School, and this is a 4-episode arc with Cody Lindley as Jake Ryan. And I'm telling you, watching these 4 episodes, knowing that he literally cheats on her in the 4th season is wacky to me, especially since her and Lily get involved in Jake Ryan. Like, Jake literally takes up the whole school. He's, like, famous and not humble at all, perfectly contrasting everything that Miley is setting out to do in her middle school. And this actually was written by Todd J. Greenwald, who created Wizards of Waverly Place. So he was still writing on other shows before he got his own show. So that's a cool origin story here. This is one of the first episodes where we get Uncle Earl being mentioned, which I was super excited about. I love the Uncle Earl, like, recurring bit. They also mentioned the Olsen twins, like their show Full House, and that's kind of crazy to me. I can't believe how meta they were being. This is probably the 3rd time Miley's secret got revealed to a person. First it was Lily, then Oliver, and now this is the reporter, when she gets jealous of Jake Ryan at the school. The episode is a reference to the Eagles song New Kid in Town. Wow, they're really doing a lot of old classics. Next is More Than a Zombie to Me, another Jake Ryan episode in this 4-episode arc where Miley is on a movie set with this character and she has to kiss his character, which is kind of controversial if you know their relationship at this point. While they're trying to be a part of this movie, they're also going to the school dance, which is adding a lot more drama to it. So Lily and Miley even turn against each other in order to get Jake Ryan's attention. The title, More Than a Zombie to Me, is a reference to the Bee Gees song, More Than a Woman to Me, which I love the Bee Gees. They're a good song. The director in the movie that Miley is so-called filming makes a lot of references to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show, which is kind of funny. And in this, they go to a dance that's 70s themed, which actually makes me feel weird. Because, like, why would you want to theme that? Number 16 is a combination of being another Jake Ryan episode while also adding Miss Dolly. It's called Good Golly, Miss Dolly. And we didn't get her to meet Aunt Ruthie yet. We just had 2 separate sides of the family's grandmothers, which is really interesting. The Little Richard song, Good Golly, Miss Molly, is the song that they're parodying here. And of course, we can't not mention the fact that Dolly Parton is relevant in this episode. They must have got her because of the whole Billy Ray Cyrus thing, because Dolly's actually Miley's real-life godmother, something I did not know until I had to look it up for the first season retrospect. This episode features Who Said, which is one of my favorite songs, and the fact that it got its like own episode is cool. The next one is the Halloween episode. Ooh, so it must have took like a little break in between, because Torn Between Hannahs is about Miley having a twin, Luann, and then never comes up after this episode. I like this episode because they have this Hannah party where everybody is wearing Hannah Montana wigs. The title is a reference to the Mary McGregor song Torn Between Two Lovers, which is kind of crazy. And thinking that this is the first season and they're having Miley play 3 separate parts, Miley, Luann, and Hannah, like that's so not fair for her. It's cool that the episode was actually adapted into the book Nightmare on Hannah Street, which is a parody of the Nightmare on Elm Street title, something that you'll only know if you've read the book, which I don't know why you would, but okay. In the opening scene, Miley is singing a song called Stand, which is from Billy Ray Cyrus's 2006 album, so they really lean into the meta of it all. Mr. Dodzig is a prominent part in this episode. It's the only one I remember with him. Oh my gosh, and I didn't realize that Emily Osment's older brother, Haley Joel Osment, was in the 1999 film The Sixth Sense. Did you guys know that? I did not. We get another Tracy episode, which is fun because you get to see Miley's pretentious part of being a superhero. Or being a superstar, or I guess superhero. Let's use both. Then the next episode we got is People Who Use People, and this is the final episode in the Jake Ryan saga for season 1 at least. We don't see him until Achy Jakey Heart, which is kind of meta because he's leaving to be on another movie for 4 months. They talk about A Teeny, which is a parody of the Tony, and the title refers to the song People from Funny Girl, which includes the lyrics People Who Need People, which is kind of interesting because Funny Girl never was like a super popular musical at this point, so like to think they were making this as a reference is really funny. Miley dates the younger kid Willis and makes a reference to What You Talking About, Willis. Oh, and they use the same bowling alley from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Real conservative guys. Miley's younger sister, Noah Cyrus, who is actually a really good artist. You should listen to her music right now, guys, quick. Was also featured in this episode. I can't remember if it was the first time she was in it, but it's still kind of interesting. This is the final appearance of Jackson's friend Cooper, which is so sad, but hey, we got Sarah. Sarah's an interesting character. Really dark trivia fact I just found. The ending credits scene of Jackson and Robbie was replaced with Hannah Montana just singing Who Said on Disney Plus. And this is because apparently the death of a woman through water intoxication happened for a radio competition when they were doing like a hold your wee for a wee thing. Oh my god, I didn't even know that happened. That's crazy. A few months after this episode aired, that was for real. Ugh. The episode's reference to the Dire Straits song Money for Nothing and then adding the guilt for free part's really funny. That's when we get to the 20th episode in the first season. Let It Be, and this is a reference to Let It Be from the Beatles, or I guess John Lennon. They say the term Nana Montana in this, and then they also do the same thing in the Sunny with a Chance episode, Random Acts of Disrespect, but that's kind of interesting. Oh, in this, Jackson does a reference to The Godfather, which I actually never knew at the time. I remember thinking it was so weird that this character just started putting on an accent for no reason. When Robbie Ray punishes Miley by ordering her to clean a garage, Miley says, "But Daddy, there are spiders in the garbage," which is a reference to the fact in real life Miley Cyrus is scared of spiders. And she says this on the Hannah Montana 2 disc edition soundtrack version. The next episode is My Boyfriend's Jackson and There's Gonna Be Trouble, which is definitely one of the funniest one because like why would you have a whole episode about incest? Like that's essentially what the jokes are. It's referencing the Angels song My Boyfriend's Back. But yeah, this is the last episode to air in 2006, so it was kind of a big deal, and it was also probably one of the funniest in this season. When we get to rank the episodes later, you'll definitely see this popping up on one of my favorites. The next is episode 22, We Are a Family, Now Go Get Me Some Water, and this is when Miley actually uses Jackson to help be her manager, and something that I was really excited about right off the bat, because obviously they just had an episode where they were dating and now he's the manager. I wish they would spread it out in that context, like why would we have 2 brother episodes back to back, but hey, we don't have time for that. The title of the episode is a reference to the Sister Sledge song We Are Family, which is one of the most popular songs ever. I can't believe I didn't even pick up on that immediately. This is the first episode that aired in 2007, which is kind of crazy to think about this show pushing past a year in its time. I really like the I Got Nerve music video. Like, that really stuck it for me, especially since it's half a comedy number, half like a real experience. And then we learn that Smiley Miley is a reference to the fact that Miley Cyrus changed her original name from Destiny Hope Cyrus to Miley Ray Cyrus. Kind of interesting, huh? The next episode is 23, and we're getting to the tail end of the first season, but already crossed into the new year. Ugh, can't get over that, actually. The girl playing the bully in this was also playing a bully on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which is so funny. I didn't realize it until recently, and it was such a long gap between. I think it was like 2 years. The episode is called Scoldy Bully, and it's a reference to Wooly Bully by Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. One of the Jacks in the background is played by R.J. Mitt, who later played Walter White Jr. in the AMC series Breaking Bad, which I don't think you remember that, because I definitely didn't. Oh, and this is the first episode that Miley and Robbie Ray don't really have an interaction. Huh, interesting. I never would have picked up on that. And this is one of the first episodes where Miley doesn't appear of Hannah Montana at all. Oh, wow. Episode number 24 is The Idol Side of Me, the 24th episode. And yeah, it's a reference to the Miley Cyrus song, The Other Side of Me, and American Idol. Whew, kind of interesting. Miley and Lily are the only ones seen at school, and the Singing with the Stars set, which I didn't realize. That's so interesting to notice later. This is the one where basically Amber and Ashley become borderline famous for singing, and you do not expect something like that to go down. And they have this whole Singing with the Stars parody, which of course is the parody of Dancing with the Stars. And also The Voice. Shakira was mentioned in this, so it seems like pop culture is pretty relevant in the Hannah Montana universe. Her juggling her double life by this point gets so much more mature. Oh, and it's cool that Sarah's in this one again as well. Oh, wow. They really, were making this show, super rounded out, because they have so many different plots they can go on from here on out. Jackson and Robbie never left the house in this entire episode. Not sure if you noticed that, but that's something that's always going to stick out to me. Episode number 25 is Smells Like Teen Sellout, which is a reference to Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana, and it's basically an ad campaign, something that is even relevant to this day. Miley has to say she likes this perfume that is... Oh no, she just hates raspberries. That's interesting. We learn a little bit of backstory that Miley was involved in a pie eating contest way when she was younger. That's funny because they start using that trope a lot more later in the series, but this is the first time they really delved into it. And that's when we get to the season finale, which wouldn't feel like a season finale, especially considering, there's no cliffhanger, there's no significant moment. The second season's moment is, I guess, not as big of a deal, but the third season had a 2-part episode, and the final season had a 2-part episode. So, I don't know, it's just interesting. It's called Bad Moose Rising, and it's a reference to the Creedence Clearwater Revival song, Bad Moose Rising. Very, very classy song. I remember my dad listening to it on the radio. Not much more to express about that. This episode is a babysitting episode, which I did not expect to experience, where she has to take care of Mr. Dodzing's little niece. And it's so funny because she is, completely crazy. It's more so a Miley and Jackson episode, but everything she has to deal with is related to this little girl. The Make-A-Moose store is a parody of Build-A-Bear Workshop, which is so crazy. I didn't realize we had that so actively in 2007. But hey, I was 9. I don't know what I was doing. Lindsay Lohan's mentioned in here, another reference to the pop culture of the time. And they reference Bruce Lee as Moose Lee and Moose Skywalker. They have a really good puns in this episode. I don't know why, I just really enjoyed it. But yeah, it ended on such a specific note. I don't even know how to go about it. The point is, in 26 episodes, over a year and a half, Hannah Montana became one of the most successful shows ever. The ratings at this time were pretty interesting. Back when people used to watch a lot of TV, these are crazy big numbers. The premiere started at 7.1 million people, and that is the highest it probably gets. I guess It's a Mannequin's World Season 1, Episode 7 also gets to that number, but it's crazy. The lowest one it ever gets to is 6.2 million, which is really good considering 4 million sometimes would be a really good episode premiere. When it started to hit 2010, that's when people started watching a lot less. I would say things got to the 3 or 4 million mark. iCarly premiered to 4.1 million, and it was apparently a huge deal at the time. A lot of the times their best episodes would go to 8 million or 10 million. Oh, whoa, that's actually really high now that I think about it. Yeah, Nickelodeon was a different beast. Let's just take that off the chart. How about that? I feel like none of the characters like truly grew throughout this season. Like they had a lot of morals that like were upkept, and they finally became better people throughout a bunch of different scenarios. Like their choices got better, and that was the cool part of the first season of Hannah Montana. I feel like the moral grounds were really established in a way that other shows didn't do well. You know, like Hannah Montana they made a double life work, and then they also made 26 stories out of it. And to think that we have 72 more, oh my gosh, this show is just everlasting. I mean, as things get clearer and clearer in 20 years into this anniversary, I can't believe how much information is still being uncovered about this show. The fact that I'm one of the few YouTubers that actually covered Hannah Montana really astounds me. Can somebody else please make this series? Because I love hearing about this series. I like talking about it, so I would love to see more retrospectives on it. The 20th anniversary is going to be really interesting because I've heard nothing but rumors about Miley coming back as Hannah Montana, or Miley Cyrus getting the rights to Hannah Montana songs. Meanwhile, she just came out with her own album, Something Beautiful, recently, with really good songs on it, and I definitely think you need to give it a listen. Disney Plus tried to back it up with Miley and like start promoting it, but that wouldn't make me surprised to see that like she got the rights back, but obviously I don't want to get my hopes up if it's not possible. There's rumors that this might be like a 21 and up event, which I don't even know if 21 and under even care about Hannah Montana anyway, so that might be like a cool problem to have in the future. But yeah, this show just is nothing but good vibes for me. And seeing all the 26 episodes laid out as it originally did in its puzzle piece of a format, you could really tell that Hannah Montana was always going to go in the upward trajectory. It just took the audience 5 episodes to even get on board. But yeah, I guess if there's anything that anybody needs to remember about this show, is that Michael Poryes claims that he did not rip off Lizzie McGuire, and that is the most important lesson of the day. Hannah Montana was not a ripoff of Lizzie McGuire, and that's something I need to bring home right now. We're going to rank every episode in the first season from worst to best. So come on down, Hannah Montana fans, because this is going to be a fun one. Let's hop into it. Number 26. The worst episode of the season, I would think, is Mascot Love. It's episode 8, the one where Lily becomes a school mascot and it embarrasses Miley, who has to be in a mascot suit. This one all around was not super fun for me. The jokes were basic. We didn't get to see too much into Hannah Montana's fame life, so the disbalance between all the best themes of Hannah Montana just aren't seen here, so I have to put that last. Number 25, Schooly Bully. It's episode 23. It's when Miley and Lily stand up to this school bully who just keeps intimidating them. It just feels super out of place and not like it would be an episode of a Hannah Montana, and not an episode of Hannah Montana, and the bully doesn't really intercept her fame life too much, which takes the premise away from me, so I'm gonna put this at number 25. Number 24, Torn Between Two Hannahs. It's episode 17, and the reason it's so low is because it's the one with Miley's lookalike cousin Luann. Like, why couldn't you just either hire another celebrity with Hannah and not make Miley play 2 parts? It's a Halloween episode for some reason. It's more about her cousin trying to expose her secret, which doesn't feel like it ever comes up in the series again. Therefore, I don't find it to be important to the show. Number 23 is Bad Moose Rising. It's the season finale, actually, episode 26, when Miley actually has to take care of the neighbor's daughter, and she becomes so demanding, wanting a certain kind of moose, being a brat, giving Miley a taste of what Jackson experiences with her as a little sister. I like the Miley and Jackson relationship dynamic. It definitely gets deeper because of this, but just the fact that it's number 26 and not a memorable finale, it already puts my expectations lower, and it feels like it's not going too much into Hannah. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. 22, Dep It Be. It's episode 20. This is the one where Miley racks up a huge credit card bill because she cannot help herself. When she tries to return the stuff, it doesn't work. This one is a lot more about being about a teenager, but it still doesn't feel like Hannah Montana enough to be this show. It still feels like it could be in another show, so I'm gonna put it lower. Next we got 21, Money for Nothing, Guilt for Free. It's episode 19, and I like episodes where the characters have to sell something. Like, it's all the kids in a competition, a $300 gift card for them all, which I don't think would matter too
much to somebody like Miley or Hannah Montana, and they're against Amber and Ashley trying to make the most donations. It doesn't feel super Hannah Montana related, and honestly, I didn't even remember this episode before I watched it, so I'm putting it a little bit lower on this list. Ugh, number 20. So, okay, this is probably one of the last of the actual worst episodes on the road again, which is the third part to That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana, where they essentially aren't at the tipped-in or doing anything that's relevant to that special anymore, and it's about Robbie Ray considering to go back on tour. It's frustrating because obviously it's a part of this huge special event on Disney Channel, and it really didn't live up to the expectations. It's cool that we get to see a little bit of Robbie Ray's background and Miley and his father-daughter bond, but it's just offensive how far from the plot it is. Then we have 19, It's a Mannequin's World, which is episode 7. Robbie gets Miley a sweatshirt with a cat on it, and it's really awkward and embarrassing, so she tries not to wear it, but then it hurts his feelings, and it's a Hannah and Robbie episode, which I didn't realize there wasn't a lot of Miley and Robbie episodes. It definitely has like the uglier side of Miley, showing how much she just wants to be away from her father, which is kind of like real life, and it's nice to see that dynamic. Next we have number 18, Miley Gets Your Gum. It's the second episode of the whole series. This is when Oliver has a huge crush on the pop star Hannah Montana, and obviously it's Miley, so she tries to get him to not have feelings for him. And it's a really funny episode, but it feels like it takes a little too long, and it didn't need to happen as the second episode. Like, its placement is just weird. We just told Lily, and now we're gonna tell Oliver, like, sure, but I want to jump into the more exciting episodes first. So that's all I have to say about that one. Number 17, we have More Than a Zombie to Me. It's from episode 15. This one is funny because it's when Miley is, as Hannah, supposed to kiss Jake Ryan in a movie, but regular Miley obviously doesn't want to get close to him. So when Jake Ryan asks Miley Stewart to prom, and she doesn't want to catch feelings, he ends up asking Lily. Is really fun. Number 16 is Grandma's Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Play Favorites, which is episode 6. This is the episode where Mama comes in, and she basically favorites Jackson, because Miley's always the favorite. And this episode is great because we've seen Miley and Jackson go against each other for like really ridiculous reasons, but this is actually like a moment where we all feel for Jackson. And even though Hannah Montana isn't in it that much, it feels like it is such a lingering issue. And this is like one of the first moments where Miley realizes that her fame kind of puts everybody in her family at a disadvantage, something that comes up in the movie. Then we have 15, Ooh Ooh Itchy Woman, episode 9. So on a camping trip, Miley and Lily basically have to split a tent with Amber and Ashley, the bullies, and they try so hard not to make a big deal out of it. They end up getting karma for playing the prank because they got poison ivy in the woods. And this episode is really funny because obviously we get to see them on a camping trip. We get to see how Miley and Lily deal with bullies as a group, and having Oliver added to it just like really solidifies their dynamic together. And I'm falling for the show at this point. Like, this is probably when the show picks up speed. And then getting to see Hannah struggle with the same issue Miley did is even better. So next we have We Are a Family, Now Get Me Some Water, which is episode 22. Miley reluctantly takes care of Jackson after he is fired. Miley accidentally gets Jackson fired from his job. Feeling bad, she actually hires him to be her assistant. She gets a lot more strict, and it really sets their relationship apart, especially since he's so bad at everything he does. It's so funny. This episode is just so good at establishing them together and just continuously building on how funny of siblings they are. And I like that Jackson is so coincided with the Hannah Montana fame world. It makes it a lot more interesting to see how he deals with it. Overall, really good episode. Number 13, we have People Who Use People. The 18th episode, it's when Miley pretends to be a rich kid to get into an exclusive event. So this is a Jake Ryan episode when he becomes a part of Miley's middle school. Basically, Jake is with this girl named Holly for publicity, but he ends up kissing Miley. So it's a really complicated situation, and it turns out to be the episode where they're about to get together, but Jake Ryan decides he's going to be leaving. For number 12, we have Good Golly Miss Dolly, which is episode 16. Miley's Aunt Dolly, with Dolly Parton, visits and tries to help her fix a love letter disaster. Basically, Jake Ryan is here for a couple episodes, and while Miley's Aunt Dolly is visiting, Miley accidentally confesses her love for Jake, and it's a really good episode because it's kind of like a heist break-in episode where they're all wearing black, they have to break into the school and get this note back with so much chaos to ensue. It doesn't have a lot of Hannah Montana in it, but it does have a lot of comedic moments, a lot of character growth, and having Miss Dolly open up the family dynamics just makes the show a lot more interesting. So for number 11, we have She's a Super Sneak, which is episode 3. It's when Miley sneaks out with Lily to see a movie, but she ends up spotting her dad on a date. And Jackson's in this one, Oliver's in it. Being the first episode after the reveals back to back, it's nice to have something that dives into the lore of Billy Ray, with Miley and Jackson actually kind of working together more than they have up until this point. I mean, there's only 2 episodes before this, but Miley and Jackson's dynamic is established here, and it's funny. Well, guys, we're down to the top 10. So this is where the episodes are gonna get a lot more incredible. We're gonna start with episode 1, the pilot, at number 10. Now, I know you're thinking, this is so low. Why number 10? I mean, the pilot is incredible, but obviously they got to a better place as the episodes progressed. That's why it's not, like, lower on the list, but I can't deny that this is such an important opening to the series. Better than a lot of other TV shows, in fact. The whole idea that Miley needs to reveal a secret to her best friend that she loves more than anything, and seeing how this new secret changes both of their lives, their relationship, is just the perfect culmination of everything Hannah Montana is supposed to deal with. Then we got number 9, New Kid in School, episode 14. So this is Jake Ryan's first episode. He's the famous actor that joins Miley's school. She tries to downplay her excitement, but gets triggered every time Jake Ryan takes advantage of his celebrity. It's a really good episode because it shows Miley what her life would be like if she chose to be outward about her fame. And seeing how pretentious it makes Jake Ryan is just the funniest thing. Them being pitted against each other without him actually knowing why it's so deep makes the episode so dynamic and interesting, and obviously Jake Ryan is a recurring character for the rest of the series, so this is such an important episode as it is. Now we got Oops, I Meddled Again, episode 11. This is the one where Miley interferes with Oliver's love life. Oliver has a crush on a girl, and the girl has a crush on him, but Miley ends up spreading the wrong information to both of them, thinking they don't like each other, and it's just such a hodgepodge of confusion, and it is the reason I love sitcoms, is when there's a character that's so willing to do something good that they end up making things way worse. And it may not incorporate the Hannah Montana persona as much, but it's a really good episode about Oliver. Probably the best one in the season. That's why it's like the closest one in the top 10. Number 7, we have Oh Say Can You Remember the Words, which is episode 10. Miley forgets the lyrics to the national anthem during her televised performance, which is so funny because it's like, obviously that's something everybody has to know. And just showing that Miley didn't get it right, like, it's ridiculous. She ends up not even being able to have confidence in her own performance as Hannah Montana. And the jump between personal life and diva life becomes relatable once again, because not only do we all have school problems, but when they're brought to the stage, you know, we relate to Miley a lot more. Especially with that idea that, like, being embarrassed is such a big deal for a teenager. And yet for Miley Stewart, her entire career lays on this. Then we have number 6, Smells Like Teen Sellout, which is episode 25. This is when Miley struggles to stay true to her music without commercializing herself, but she is so into doing an ad for a perfume she doesn't like. She's allergic to raspberries, and it has raspberries in it, and every time she doesn't stay true to herself, the situation gets worse and worse, even on a talk show when she's sweating so much. And that's kind of like why I like this episode so much, seeing Miley on the talk show and having her issues affect her in public is just so fun. Next is number 5, You're So Vain You Probably Think the Zit Is About You. Episode number 13, halfway through the season. So this is the one where Miley gets a huge zit. So in this episode, Lily struggles with being embarrassed of wearing her dorky glasses in public, and Miley gives her advice that looks don't matter, but then has a giant billboard put up of her with a zit, and obviously she has an issue when it relates to her. So she erases the zit, and her and Lily get into a big fight. And it's a really funny episode, but it's also cool seeing Miley be such a hypocrite, and kind of like she like somehow isn't ready, which is such a teenage issue to have, and have it come between her and Lily make it for a really authentic and relatable episode where you give somebody advice but you can't take the advice yourself. And I just needed this to be as high as possible because it was so good. Number 4 is It's My Party and I'll Lie If I Want To. It's episode 5. This is when Miley and Lily were still kind of getting used to Miley's double life being in the forefront of their relationship. Like, Miley is so embarrassed that she doesn't want Lily to come to a party with her that she lies to her, that the party's not happening. And then eventually the paparazzi takes a picture of her, and Lily inevitably finds out. It is probably the most relatable fame plot line without it being too comical. And the harsh realities of paparazzi, like, it is such an invasive job. And seeing Miley deal with it head on throws you into the drama that the show promises, and I love that. Number 3, episode 21. My boyfriend's Jackson, and there's gonna be trouble. I had to put this one up in the top 3 because this is one of the funniest episodes in the entire series. I definitely think it's the funniest in season 1, but I obviously am not gonna just make that number 1 for that reason. It's the one where the rumor spreads that Jackson's dating Hannah Montana, and it leads to chaos. Like, I feel like it's important to have the top 3 be a different themed episode. Like, there's usually a Miley and Lily, a Miley and Oliver, a Miley and Family, a Miley and Fame episode, but we had one of each here. It's so funny, the concept that people in the world think that Hannah Montana is dating Jackson because obviously Miley Stewart is related to Jackson. And having them get into arguments about dating each other is just so funny. It's like borderline controversial, but not offensive, you know? Like, it's just, I would recommend anybody to watch this episode if they needed to see Hannah Montana for the first time. It deals with the typical fame aspect in a much more comical way. Number 2, I'm gonna put episode 24, The Idol Side of Me. So Miley gets revenge on Amber and Ashley by setting her up to fail in a singing competition. So why is this number 2? Because it is so relevant to our day and age now, and the fact that they were kind of touching upon it back then. Like, this is before The Voice came out. This was when we only had American Idol. So bringing it into the Hannah Montana world gave it a sense of authenticity, and also gave Miley a really complicated moral issue. Being in a position where you have the chance to hurt or help your bully, and it just really reflects on the character. And how Miley goes about it is just so interesting. Like, you can't tell what she's going to do. And that's what makes Miley Cyrus a good actress as well. Like, this episode just showcases some of the best stuff from the show. So number 1 is I Can't Make You Love Hannah If You Don't. It's episode 4. It's the one where Miley tries to impress a cute guy, only to find out that he doesn't like Hannah Montana. I mean, there's just so many positive things about this episode. I feel like when they created the show, this is the epitome of what they were trying to portray. Like, it's Hannah and Miley trying to juggle both lives. And in the most ridiculous manner. Like, what if you were actually on stage and in the seats of a concert at the same time? It captures the humor of the show, it captures the heart of the show, and it captures what Miley Stewart's goals. Every character gets the chance to shine in this episode. It's funny, and I think this is the perfect representation of this series. That's why I made this number 1. It feels like such a random episode to other people, but if you didn't have Disney Channel and you watched ABC for Hannah Montana on the weekends, this was one of the episodes that played the most. So I'm super nostalgic for it. But not only that, I just feel like it is the essence of the show.
Thank you guys so much for watching this extra retrospective on Hannah Montana. If you've seen my channel already, you'll know Hannah Montana was the first retrospective series I did. I started with the first 13 episodes, then the second 13 episodes, then I started combining these videos to be like an hour and a half, 2 hours long, where I would just recap every episode, go over all the trivia I pretty much laid out in this video. Like, if you watch this, you definitely don't have to watch the first season retrospective. I mean, unless you want to hear the details about the episodes. But otherwise, like, this is just a fun experience for me to, as a fan, go over all of the Hannah Montana experiences. I also have the second season extremely played out. It's like 3 hours long, so you could totally check that out too. In the meantime, everybody, thank you for all my Hannah Montana fans and supporting me through my other TV show retrospectives and giving me another chance to go through this one again. I had so much fun. Thank you guys so much for watching, and for more 2000s content, don't forget to check out Johnny 2000. Oh, and before you go, make sure to check out my new musical, The Consequences of Victoria Gray. I wrote this 15-song musical, just finished filming an hour-and-a-half movie for it that I can't wait to release in September. My goal is to make, like, teen-related shows about mental health for high schools to perform, so you could see why I love Hannah Montana. I love the musical and storytelling elements, so if you really like my taste or point of view, you probably will like that too. I have the first 6 songs released on Spotify, and yeah, the movie's coming out soon, so you will not be disappointed if you jump on the bandwagon and check it out. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day.